I never thought a single lie of omission could destroy everything I'd built with the man I loved. But now, 8 months pregnant and sitting in a house that suddenly feels colder than ever, I can see how one mistake, one secret, might cost me the future I'd dreamed of. It all started with something I didn't think was a big deal at the time. My old friend, Sam, had come back into town. We'd known each other for years, had some history, but that was long before I met Ian. When I told Ian I was meeting an old friend for lunch, I thought it would save us both an uncomfortable conversation. I told myself it wasn't really a lie, just a detail he didn't need to know. But deep down, I knew I wasn't being fully honest. Ian and I were in a good place back then, planning for our baby, decorating the nursery, even picking out names. He trusted me completely, and I let that trust sit heavy on my heart every time I looked into his eyes. But lies have a way of bubbling to the surface, especially when you least expect them. I didn't know that running into Sam again would spark so many questions, not from me, but from others around us. Friends started asking about him. Ian overheard one of my texts. And before I could control the story, the truth was slipping through the cracks. When Ian finally found out who Sam really was, an ex I'd never mentioned, his face changed in a way I can't forget. Not anger. Not jealousy. Just pure hurt. "Why didn't you just tell me?" he asked, and I didn't have a good answer. "Because I didn't want to lose your trust? Because I thought you'd react badly? Because I was ashamed of the past?" I stood there, words failing, watching everything unravel. Now, he's packing bags. He says he needs space to think. I want to scream that it was just a lunch, just a mistake I made trying to avoid conflict. But it's not just about the lunch, it's about trust, honesty, and everything we were supposed to share. And here I am, 8 months pregnant, wondering if he'll be here when our baby arrives, or if I'll be doing this alone. Ian didn't raise his voice. He didn't accuse me or throw things or storm out. That would have been easier, maybe. But the silence, the way he quietly picked up his shoes, gathered his keys, and closed the door behind him without saying where he was going, cut deeper than any words ever could. I stood frozen in the hallway, one hand resting on my belly, feeling the baby move as if sensing the tension. I wanted to run after him, but I couldn't. I didn't know what to say that would make it right. I didn't even know if I deserved for it to be right. That night felt endless. I replayed everything over and over in my head, the moment I bumped into Sam at the grocery store, the coffee catch-up, the way I'd smiled too much, laughed too freely. It had felt harmless at the time. I didn't think I owed Ian an update on a relationship that ended years before he even knew me. But now I was starting to see how hiding it made it look worse than it was. I had given him every reason to doubt me, and now he was doubting everything. We'd been through a lot already, moving in together, job changes, even a miscarriage last year that nearly broke both of us. But we held each other through the darkest nights. That's why this hit so hard. It wasn't just about me and Sam. It was about the version of myself I'd let Ian believe in. The version that was fully transparent, dependable, safe. And maybe I wasn't that person after all. I tried calling him. No answer. I texted. "Please come home. We need to talk. I love you." Scene. No reply. The house felt emptier than ever. I walked past the nursery, now half done, with the tiny clothes folded neatly in the corner, the crib still in its box. We were supposed to build it together next weekend. I touched the wall where we were going to paint stars, and my chest tightened. Was this what it would be like, me alone, raising a child in a space filled with memories of what could have been? Then came the real question that haunted me: did I actually make a mistake, or did I just finally show him who I really am? The next morning, I woke up hoping it had all been a dream. But his side of the bed was still untouched, cold, and painfully empty. I checked my phone again, nothing. Not even a missed call. Every hour that passed made it harder to breathe. I kept glancing at the front door, half expecting to hear his keys or footsteps. But the silence stretched on, thick and unforgiving. Later that day, I got a message from Ayan's sister, Zara. "He's with me," it read. "He's safe. He just needs time." My heart sank and lifted at the same time. At least he wasn't gone for good. But knowing he was talking to Zara and not me? That said more than any words ever could. She and I had always been close, like sisters. And now, I wondered if she'd taken his side too, or worse, if she also believed I'd been hiding more than just a lunch with an ex. In the middle of all this, Sam messaged me again. "Hope everything's okay. Didn't mean to cause trouble." I stared at his name on the screen for a while. I didn't know whether to respond or block him. He wasn't the issue, but he was part of it now. A ghost from my past that had shaken the foundation of my present. I left the message unanswered. To distract myself, I tried to focus on the baby. I had a checkup coming up, and I didn't want to miss it. Ayan always came with me, held my hand during ultrasounds, talked to the baby like they could already hear him. Now I wasn't sure if I should even put his name down on the hospital paperwork. That thought hit harder than anything. Meanwhile, my mom called. She noticed my voice sounded off. I didn't know how to explain everything to her. I just said Ayan was staying at Zara's for a few days. But moms know. And she gently asked, "Is there something you haven't told him, Beta?" I hesitated. How could I explain the difference between hiding and protecting? Between dishonesty and fear? I didn't want to sound like I was making excuses. But wasn't love supposed to be about trust? Now, surrounded by unopened baby gifts and unread baby books, all I could think was, if Ayan doesn't come back, how do I fix something I never meant to break? The night before my doctor's appointment, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined Ayan holding our baby, smiling like he used to, or worse, never coming back at all. My heart kept racing, like it already knew something was coming. The house was too quiet, too heavy with everything unspoken between us. I kept rehearsing what I'd say if he showed up. I'd tell him I messed up, yes, but not because I didn't love him. I was scared of losing the peace we had, and ironically, that fear caused exactly what I was trying to avoid. The next morning, I walked into the clinic alone, my stomach tightening from nerves, not just pregnancy ones, but the kind that come when your world is falling apart and you're trying to act like everything's normal. The receptionist gave me a soft smile. "You're almost there, Mama," she said kindly. I nodded, forcing a smile back. Almost there. But I didn't feel close to anything. Not comfort, not relief, not Ayan. As I sat in the waiting area, something in me cracked. I couldn't hold back the tears anymore. I tried to wipe them away quickly, hoping no one would notice, but I felt eyes on me. And then, suddenly, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I turned, half hoping, half dreading, and it wasn't Ayan. It was Zara. She looked concerned, unsure. "I thought you might need someone," she whispered, sitting beside me. I couldn't even answer. Just nodded again. After a moment, she added, "He's struggling. He's not angry. Just, really hurt." I swallowed hard. I never meant to lie to him. I just didn't know how to explain it without sounding like I had something to hide. "I know," she said softly. "But to him, you weren't just hiding Sam, you were hiding a part of yourself. He's wondering what else he doesn't know." Before I could respond, the nurse called my name. I walked in for the scan, holding back everything I was feeling. The ultrasound started, and when I saw the baby on the screen, moving, alive, real, it hit me like never before. This wasn't just about a relationship anymore. It was about family. About what kind of mother I wanted to be, and what kind of future I was about to walk into, with or without Ayan. And then, just as the nurse turned the screen for a better view, the door opened slowly, and someone walked in. I turned my head slowly, heart pounding in my ears, not sure who I was expecting, but it was him. Ayan stood in the doorway, breathless, as if he had run up the stairs. His eyes went straight to the monitor, then to my face. He looked tired, conflicted, like he hadn't slept either. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The nurse, sensing the tension, gently said she'd give us a minute and slipped out. The room fell into a hush, except for the steady sound of the baby's heartbeat filling the space. "I didn't want to miss this," Ian said quietly, his eyes never leaving the screen. My throat tightened. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to throw my arms around him, the other part still hurt by how far he'd pulled away. "I'm glad you came," I whispered. "You didn't have to," but he cut me off. "I needed to." Just as I thought the moment might turn into a step toward healing, his expression shifted. "But that's not why I came," he added. I looked at him, confused. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. "I didn't want to do this here, but I found something, and I need you to tell me the truth." My stomach dropped. He unfolded it carefully, as if it might burn in his hands. It was a printed email, one I recognized instantly. It was from Sam. An old one. Months ago. Before I got pregnant. My heart started racing. I had deleted it from my inbox, but I'd completely forgotten it had synced to our shared tablet at home. The subject line was clear as day. "Are you sure this is really over between us?" I couldn't breathe. I remembered now. Sam had sent it after our unexpected lunch, probably testing the waters. I never responded. But it didn't matter. Ian had read it, and in his eyes, the damage was done. "Why didn't you tell me he emailed you this?" he asked, voice steady but low. "You said it was just lunch." "But this feels like more." "It wasn't," I said quickly, my voice trembling. I didn't even reply. I didn't want to give it any weight. I thought ignoring it was the best thing to do. "I swear, Ian, there's nothing between us." "Not now, not ever." "But why hide it?" he asked again, eyes filled with pain. "Why didn't you tell me when it happened?" I had no answer that could make it better. I looked down at the screen again. Our baby kicked. The heartbeat echoed in the room like a ticking clock, and it hit me. This wasn't just about trust anymore. This was about what we were building, what could shatter so easily if even one more crack appeared. And then, just when I thought things couldn't spiral further, Zara knocked and re-entered the room. Her face was pale. She held her phone in one hand and looked between us, hesitant. "You both need to see this," she said, voice tight. "Something just came up, and it changes everything." Zara handed Ian the phone, her hands slightly shaking. I leaned forward, anxiety rising in my chest. Ian stared at the screen, his jaw tightening as he scrolled. I couldn't read his expression, but I could feel something shift in the air. When he finally looked up, his eyes met mine, not with anger, but with disbelief. He turned the phone toward me. On the screen was a post from Sam's social media. A blurry photo, taken months ago, of me and him at the cafe. It was the day we met, the same lunch I hadn't told Ian the full truth about. But what shocked me wasn't the picture, it was the caption. "Some people never really leave your heart, no matter how much time passes." I felt the blood drain from my face. I had no idea he posted that. I had never seen it. Comments below it didn't help either. Someone had tagged me. Others asked if we were back together. It looked bad, worse than anything Ian could have imagined from a simple email. "I didn't know," I said, my voice small. "I swear, Ian, I had no clue he posted this. I didn't follow him, I didn't see it. I haven't spoken to him since that day." He stepped back, torn between believing me and the evidence in front of him. "You kept saying it was nothing, but every time I try to believe you, something else comes up. And now this? This looks like he thought there was still something going on." Tears welled in my eyes. Because he wanted there to be. But I didn't. "I chose you, Ian." I never looked back. "Please, look at me and tell me you still know who I am." There was silence. The kind that weighs down every corner of a room. Then Ian looked at the screen again, took a breath, and finally said, "I believe you." My knees nearly buckled. But you have to be honest with me moving forward. No more half-truths. I can't be a father to our child if I can't trust the person standing next to me. I nodded, wiping my tears. You'll have all of me. No more hiding. Just as the tension started to lift, Zara's phone buzzed again. She looked at it, frowned, then gasped. Wait, this isn't Sam's account anymore. Look, his account was hacked. That post was made just yesterday. Not months ago. Ayan stared at Zara's phone, the screen still lit with the shocking update. Hacked, he repeated, as if trying to make sense of it all. Zara nodded. The real Sam just posted a story explaining someone got into his old account. He just regained control and deleted everything. A wave of silence swept over the room again, but this time it felt different, like something heavy had finally lifted. Ayan slowly looked at me, his eyes softer now, filled with something I hadn't seen in days, clarity. I felt a mix of relief and guilt crash over me. I had been so afraid of being misunderstood that I created a gap between us. I should have told you everything from the start, I said quietly. Not because there was something to hide, but because you deserved to hear it from me, not from the world. He reached for my hand and squeezed it gently. We've both made mistakes, he said. But I don't want fear or assumptions raising our child. We have to be better, stronger. For them. The nurse returned, and we finished the ultrasound together. Ayan smiled for the first time in days when he heard the baby's heartbeat again. We talked afterward, slowly, carefully, about trust, about boundaries, and most importantly, about parenting together with honesty and love. That night, Ayan came home with me. We unpacked emotions, unspoken thoughts, and even the half-built crib. It wasn't perfect, but it felt real again. A week later, Sam messaged one last time, apologizing for the mess caused by the hacked account and wishing me well. I showed Ayan the message before deleting it. It was a small moment, but an important one. It was my way of proving he came first, always. The nursery is almost finished now. Soft yellow walls, tiny socks in drawers, and books waiting to be read aloud. Every night, Ayan talks to our baby like nothing ever shook us. But deep down, I think we both know we were tested. And somehow, we came out stronger. This story wasn't about betrayal. It was about fear, forgiveness, and choosing truth even when it's uncomfortable. Because in love, especially when you're building a family, it's not just about avoiding mistakes, it's about owning them and learning how to move forward, hand in hand.